Every time I think I'm done talking about one of the worst shows I've ever seen, they pull me back in by claiming it got cancelled because of alt-right racists. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. So as of the time of this video's recording, we are now living, I think, 3 weeks or a month PA or post-Acolyte, and I can't say that things feel that much better because even though every Wednesday isn't being ruined for me, we now have a new statement from the star of the award-losing TV show, The Acolyte, AMANDLA STENBERG, who not only gave us this national treasure, in response to very valid fan criticisms of the series, now we have a statement about the cancellation, and I'm honestly surprised that it took her as long as it did to talk about the cancellation of The Acolyte. So on her Instagram story, she essentially talked for almost 10 minutes straight about the show's cancellation, her feelings on it, the fans, her love for the incredibly talented Leslie Headland, and so many other things. And we're not going to go over all 8 minutes, of course, but I do have some points that I'd like to touch upon here. So judging by the title of this article, I'm sure you can guess that basically she is once again blaming the vitriol and hatred from fans for this show's cancellation, because of course it can't be that she delivered an incredibly awful performance, the show was poorly written, the CGI was crap, and it was just poorly paced, plot-breaking trash. It has to come down to the fact that fans are toxic and cruel. I would like to point out the bias in the writing about this show though, because even in this article, which is basically just supposed to be reporting on what AMANDLA STENBERG says, they actually had the balls to say, though The Acolyte generally drew praise from critics, generally would imply that most people praised it. Where are these critics, like real critics that loved this show? The series was review bombed. Ah yes, review bombing, as in it got reviews we didn't want en masse because fans actually had the balls to speak out about it, but we're too petty and narcissistic to acknowledge that anything that happened with this show could actually be wrong, therefore we have to blame it on fans being assholes. This practice often impacts productions that include actors of color and LGBTQ characters. The 2017 Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, also faced an extreme backlash from online fans upon its release. And none of that backlash was aimed at anybody being a person of color or implied members of the LGBTQ community. None of the real criticism about The Acolyte has anything to do with any of that, and it's amazing how they continuously dog the fans for being racist, misogynist, homophobes, transphobes, all that shit, but they are somehow incapable of attaching any of these reviews to their articles. I mean, where's the evidence? But regardless of the media having their heads firmly implanted up the asses of Leslie Headland, AMANDLA STENBERG, and anybody else that had anything to do with The Acolyte, let's really dig into what AMANDLA STENBERG had to say.
A rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept and no one had even seen it. And that's when we started experiencing a rampage of, I would say, hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us.
Conservative bigotry, vitriol, and hatred. The fact that these people continuously politicize these things and make it a matter of left versus right, red versus blue, it just goes to show you that their arguments are so incredibly weak. They know they can't defend the show. They know that they can't come out and tell you, well, the writing was fantastic and we had so much talent and the costume design. See, they don't defend their shit on that basis. They just come out and attack you, because if they attack you for being a transphobe, misogynist, racist, then they think they're essentially shitting on your argument because they're saying you don't have one, you're just blinded by politics. I couldn't give a shit less about politics when I sit down to watch Star Wars. This show is just crap, and they refuse to acknowledge that, and it's obvious that they refuse to acknowledge it because they can't hype it up to defend it. But let's continue.
Despite and in the face of all of the vitriol that we received, and kind of the targeted attack, I would say, we received by the alt-right, Just that you were deeply loved and appreciated. And
it's nice to see that she extends love and appreciation for her fans, and yet anybody that didn't like The Acolyte is apparently a member of the alt-right? Honestly, not liking a TV show apparently aligns you with extremists on a political spectrum. Are we hearing how absolutely f***ing insane this is? I watched every episode of this with you guys, and a lot of other people have, and 99% of our criticisms have been that the writing was shoddy, that the quality was garbage, it broke canon, the performances were lacking, the CGI and the effects look weird, the fighting wasn't great. I mean, I could sit here and make a list, and I basically did when I reviewed it every week, and none of it had to do with being a member of the alt-right, which I most definitely am not. I mean, the people behind The Acolyte are basically drinking their own Kool-Aid for the sole purpose of villainizing the other side, and by the other side, I mean their own fan base that just didn't like the show.
Let's vote, y'all. Let's vote. Let's vote. I think that's all I have to say. Wow, this is 10 minutes long.
Okay, so she's ending this on let's vote. So a 10-minute diatribe about her show being canceled. Mind you, this is not groundbreaking TV or some journalist thing that is doing so much good for society at large. It is a Star Wars TV show that was poorly made, poorly planned out, and cost $180 million for a single season. That's insane. And she decides to end this on let's vote. I'm just not sure what this train of thought is. I mean, you could vote for whatever the you want. What does that have to do with The Acolyte? What does the state of politics have to do with the fact that people didn't like this show? It's not about politics. Disney, AMANDLA, anybody who needs to hear this, The Acolyte being canceled, being raved upon online is not a political thing. It has nothing to do with politics. It was a bad show, and it's so convenient for them to ignore real criticism, to ignore the voices of the fans in terms of just saying, well, it's all hatred, because it discounts any argument that you could make. That just goes to show you these people don't want to hear you. They are buying into their own narrative that they can do no wrong, they will take no accountability for anything they've ever done, because at the end of the day, they are the saints, and we are the cruel, politically violent, vitriol-spewing pieces of shit just waiting to crap upon any and all beautiful art that they make. Give me a break. And I would like to say to everybody who actually had a hand in The Acolyte, don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I will add links to all of those in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on AMANDLA Stenberg's discussion of The Acolyte in the comments below.